Welcome back to the YouTube episode 3 of the mini cut, and let's just take a short second to admire the sun. Yep, that's enough because I'm as pasty as a white sheet. In today's video, we're going to go through everything about my training, how I'm setting up my training for my mini cut, and how you can also set yours up. Before we get into any of that, I need to vent to you how bloody excited I am about seeing Oasis tomorrow. Honestly, I mean, everyone's been waiting ages for them to get back together, but yeah, they're like the pinnacle of Britpop rock. Honestly, so excited. But let me know in the comments, what is the best Oasis song? For me, personally, I feel like Wonderwall is a little bit overplayed now. Like, it's always at festivals, it's always in weddings and parties and stuff you go to. So I feel like the top 3, including Wonderwall will be the bottom of the 3. Then it'll be Champagne Supernova in the first place, and then Don't Look Back in Anger being the second. That's my top 3 songs for Oasis. But yeah, I'm just so excited. So apologies to anyone who didn't get a ticket, but also apologies to all my clients that are having to put up with listening to Oasis for the last 2 days. Just been getting such in a mood with listening to them and getting my excitement up. But for now, it's time to absolutely obliterate my morning clients and ensure they're making some maximal progress that they can. So that's my first lot of morning clients done this morning. Helen working on her chest flies. So one common mistake a lot of people make is they try and meet their fists together and they end up in this position. What you want to do is think about straightening the arm as you come into the middle. So imagine it's like 2 elastic bands or 1 elastic band across your biceps, and then it's then really stretching across your chest, and then when you're coming in, straighten your arm up to get your biceps to touch. And then Tom was really working on his deadlift. So one of the corrections you've probably seen in the footage is his foot pressure. So if you don't collapse your arch of your foot and you keep the pressure on the outside of your foot when you're doing RDLs or deadlifts, it doesn't kind of rotate your upper leg enough. So you can kind of get a little more glutes over hamstrings. So adding that, collapsing that inside of your foot a little bit, which if you've got flat feet, excellent, it's easier for you. You'll get a little more hamstrings out of it. So I'm gonna tuck into my Dettol for my lunch. Now I'm joking. I'm gonna tuck into my pre-workout that I had last week, yogurt, granola, and today we've gone for some peanut butter because I've ran out of dark chocolate. But one interesting thing, similar to last vlog, is Aldi have brought out another Hovo Monster. Now this is the equivalent to the Monster Fiesta, the mango flavor. So it does taste like it, a lot more gassy, but it doesn't compare to the Fiesta Monster isn't particularly the best flavor anyway, let's be honest. So gonna give it about a 7 out of 10. Last vlog, I realized I ended up saying an 8 out of 7 for the previous Monster, the Audi pink one. What I meant to say is 8.7 out of 10, but yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna tuck into this. I've literally got 30 minutes, train my last 2 clients of the day, hit the gym, and then we're gonna go through how to set up your own training, everything about my current training split, what I'm working on, and things to look out for within your training. Final 2 sessions done of the afternoon. James really enjoyed his 5th session of the week. Now, normally I don't recommend people training 5 days a week, but James has some sessions to catch up on. And rather than miss out on them, we train 5th day. Now, when we do this 5th day, because we've done is complete this program for this week already, we tend to just do some random exercises that we haven't tried ever before. Gives them a chance to try some new stuff, some maybe new techniques. So we were obviously using the shoulder press in this video, but later on in the session, we did a pyramid set. So starting on a lighter weight, doing more reps, coming down, going up in weight, but then down in reps, and then going back up again. We did that both on biceps and tricep, and he certainly felt that afterwards. So we're definitely going to add some of that into his new program. The programs for clients tend to last around 8 weeks. And if you're doing this for your own training, this is one first tip of the day actually, is stop chopping and changing your training splits. Keep it the same for as long as you can. See progress at every single exercise you have in the sessions, because that's how you're going to make more gains and more progress. If you're chopping and changing every 4 to 5 weeks, you're literally going to stall your progress like every single time. All right. So we run the same program for 8 weeks. Then we sit down, we evaluate what worked well, what didn't go well, what did he enjoy, what he didn't, and then take out the bits he didn't enjoy and maybe shift the focus to other muscle groups that he wants to train in the next program. He's going to be moving into a gaining phase in a couple of weeks. Give him a little bit of a break from dieting, bring his calories up so that the next diet he does is a little bit easier and he's got more food as a buffer for that. And Andy is looking absolutely shredded. As I said last week, like Andy is coming towards the end of his diet now, but we took some photos today and I'll put them up on the screen. So you've got last week's photos and this week's photos, and you can see that he's just by a week, he's looking way more shredded. His forearms are looking more like peeled. Chest is looking much more shredded. Abs are looking tighter as well. But also what you can see from the photos is that his pop in his muscles is kind of starting to deteriorate a little bit, and that's from the lack of carbs going in. So we're going to be running a 1-day refeed for next week. See how he feels after that. If his weight hasn't gone up by 0.5 to a kilo, then we run a second refeed day. And this is just going to help push the diet a little bit further, fill his muscles back up to push on a little bit further, and keep his training performance intact. We haven't run it. This would be the first refeed we've run in his whole diet. He's been dieting for sort of 10, 12 weeks, maybe a little bit more than that. So yeah, it's definitely well-earned refeed. So I'm gonna hit the gym now, do my own session, and then I've got some evening clients, some content to film, and just chilling out before hitting Oasis tomorrow.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built.
So that's my second pool session done of the week. Exactly the same one as the previous vlog, but this time I timed things a lot better. Last week I ended up having my pre-workout meal 4 hours before I trained, which wasn't ideal due to having content and clients and just being a little bit disorganized on that day, which meant that when I got into the session, my mentality was completely off because I knew that I'd underfueled myself and the session just felt harder. This week I took a lot more rep progressions than I did previously, which is really, really good. So how should you program your training for your diets and your shreds and your mini cuts? So firstly, this angle does not do me any favors. It looks like I'm fully wearing a bra, which is not great. But when it comes to programming your sessions, your training splits do not need to change. So for example, my training split is as follows. On Mondays, I rest. Tuesdays, I train push day. Wednesdays, I do my full body pull day. Thursday and Friday, I rest. And then Saturday, I train quads with triceps. And Sunday, I train my full body pull day if it was a normal week. Now, this training split hasn't changed since I did my bulk 3 weeks ago. And the reason being is because what built your muscle will keep the muscle. A lot of lads think when they go into a shred that they're instantly going to have less energy like that, when often it doesn't happen in that way. It happens further down the line. But because you go into a shred with that mentality, you switch your training to less weight and more reps, when you're actually doing your progress more harm than good by doing this. And the reason being is because more high volume training requires a lot more recovery than more high intensity training. So the first thing that I've done in my training during this phase is actually just change the style of training. The actual base of that program, the same exercises and the same split has stayed the same, but the style of training hasn't. So what I was doing before, I was doing more high volume training. So a lot of 3 sets on every exercises, maybe not as heavy weights. This time I've adopted more of high intensity training. And the reason being is it takes you far less to recover from lifting heavy than it does from lifting light for more reps and sets across a session and across a week. So this is going to mean that I'm able to see more progress in every session, see my numbers climb even though I'm still on less food and still dieting. It's going to mean I'm going to be able to recover so that when it comes to every session, I'm fully recovered, ready to give it my all in every single session. But also it just helps with your mindset towards things, knowing that you're still going in there to potentially still build muscle because you're lifting a lot heavier than you were on your bulk. So the style that I've adopted is called a top and back offset style of training. Now this isn't for every single exercise. So for example, biceps, triceps, abs, and calves, adductors, all those sorts of small muscle groups, I've ended up keeping them at the same volume that I was doing on my bulk because they take a little bit less time to recover than say your quads, your hamstrings, your back, chest, that sort of stuff. They're very, very small muscle groups. But for the other exercises that tax my central nervous system, that if I did just keep doing high volume training, it would mean that I'd be absolutely taxed into every session and my strength would plateau quicker than it should have done. But these ones, I've ended up doing a heavy set on the first set of maybe 8 to 12 or 6 to 8, and then doing a little bit less weight, but more reps on the second set. This means I'm getting best of both. I'm getting a little bit of volume, but a lot more intensity within my training. Now, the second thing when it comes to your training within your shreds and your mini cuts is that your energy will get less the further that you go into them. Not from the very start, which is where most guys will change their training split. It starts to get less and less and less the further you get into it because you're expending more energy by doing more steps, more cardio, still training with weights, and potentially just generally moving more throughout the day. So this means that your energy energy reserves, your glycogen stores in your muscles are getting fewer and fewer. So it's much harder to keep pushing in the gym. And at that point, that's where potentially you're going to start to feel that sessions are getting harder and you're getting a little bit weaker. So at this point, this is where you need to think more of a case of maintaining your numbers, but still going in with the mentality of every session that you're there to build muscle. As soon as you lose that mentality of going into that session and you're not there to build muscle, this is where you're going to get inside your own head and think, I'm getting weaker, I'm losing muscle, I'm feeling really skinny, when actually it's completely normal part of being in a shred. The way that you can get around this is by timing your food a lot better and fueling your carbohydrates around your training so that you can really maximize them and make sure that you are still progressing within your lifts. The third thing that you can do with your training is that when your energy does start getting less, or it's much harder to see, or it's much harder to push for those extra rep progressions, or maybe perhaps lift a little bit heavier weights each session, is swap the exercise out. So for example, if you've got an exercise that requires a lot more stability, something like a dumbbell press or any free weight exercise, as your body fat gets less and less and less, your joints are getting more vulnerable to a lack of stability because they haven't got as much protection around them. So at this point, this is where you can swap to something that has potentially a little bit more stability, such as a machine, a Smith machine instead, or even a cable machine. By swapping to one of these machines or a cable, it offers some external stability that you wouldn't be able to offer for yourself unless you're in a bulking phase. And this is going to mean that you can lift much heavier weights with the same amount of effort, but without the worry of sustaining an injury or it feeling painful on your joints because you've got less body fat around them, and generally just seeing a lot more progress within your sessions because of it. And finally, the fourth thing that you need to do with your training, in your cuts and your shreds, is still track your lifts. I cannot stress it enough. If you've made some insane progress in your bulking phase from tracking your training, lifting more weights, progressively overloading your reps and sets across the week, across every single session, why do you then want to stop that completely in this phase? It's super important that you still continue to track your weights, your reps, your sets, and your rest periods to ensure that you're not dropping reps, or you're not getting weaker, or you're not dropping the weights down in the session. Because this is how you're going to maintain more muscle in this phase and look fucking sick at the end of it. So make sure that you incorporate all four of these things and you will see some incredible results after your cut and maintain all of the muscle that you built in your bulk. So that's my evening clients done for the day. Sally, didn't record her because she's very, very new to the gym, a little bit unconfident in herself, but she absolutely smashed it. She brought a dog in as well, which made the session even better because I fucking love dogs. Definitely want to get a sausage dog, mainly because I like the little steps that they do. They like let them climb up on the little sofa, on the sofa. I think that's just fucking adorable. I have grown up around big dogs, but not really my thing anymore. But yeah, more of a sausage dog or a Frenchie. Pugs are really ugly. And then Jerome has recently just come away from an injured back, so we're taking it nice and slow. Didn't do any lower body exercise today because he's a little bit tender at the moment, but we did do some correctional based stuff. So we worked on spinal rotation, doing some oblique rotations with the cable machine, which I didn't record. And then we also did some lateral flexions with a dumbbell and a cable, which are actually really helping his back at the moment. So we just prioritized upper body, did an arm superset to finish. So we did incline dumbbell curls and a skull crusher, focusing on contracting the bicep up rather than just dragging it up. So if you think about contracting your arm from the very bottom of the rep all the way to the top, it will make it considerably a lot harder for yourself. So make sure you add that into your training sessions and thank me later. So heading home at the moment, it's going to have dinner, and then I'll take you through an update of week 3 of the mini cut. So that is dinner done. Dumplings for this evening, which was made courtesy of my girlfriend's mum. Food always tastes better when it's made by someone else. There's no doubt about it. Saves you washing up for one. And obviously because dumplings were a little bit lower in protein, I doubled up with some ham to make sure I hit my protein quota so we're not missing out on the gains. So currently in week 3, 5 days into this week, and I'm already 0.4 kilos down. And looking at the progress photos on my front shots, my front relax, my front double bicep, and my front lat spread, things are looking really, really good. Posing is looking a lot better. Leanness is coming in. My midsection is looking a lot tighter again, which is great. Even though it's such a small difference on coming down in terms of weight, you can see that my abs are looking a little bit more prominent. My quads are looking a lot more sharper. And this is what I found in my photo shoot prep as well, was that my quads came through a lot quicker because there's a lot more muscle tissue there to show off when there's less body fat. Now moving into my rear poses, so my back double bicep and my rear lat spread, again, looking a lot wider. You can start to see see a lot more of my lower lat insertions. My erectors are coming through a lot more better now as well, so a lot more striations from my lower back. Still need to work a little bit more on my foot placement of my back leg. So I always struggle to like connect with my hamstring on that back leg. Sometimes when I do switch, I get a little bit more on the left, but it just feels so alien to do it on the left hand side. But I will try to kind of alternate it through poses sometimes just to see which one will feel best. But it just naturally feels like my right leg has to go back, because on stage you always rotate to your right, which would make sense in my head. And then the side poses, obviously I didn't do a side relax in my first initial progress photos or progress photo videos, so there's no comparison shot with these, but my side chest and my side triceps again are looking a lot better in terms of posing and how I'm composing myself within those poses. But my delts always come through a lot quicker, like my quads do, so they are coming through a lot more prominent now. So things are moving in a very, very good spot at the moment. So if you've enjoyed today's vlog, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, because the next video we're going to be going through how I would navigate social events on a mini cut such as this.